Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I know it's been a while since I made a meta video. It's nearing the end of the season, and with the end of the season means the meta videos sort of slow down a little bit because there isn't too much change. But I was specifically asked, I can't remember who, and I do apologize, because I was asked this a couple days ago now at this point, to cover the Singapore regionals because there was a spicy list at number 1. So we're going to go over the Singapore regionals here. It was a 100-man event, top 16 cut, and let's go ahead and get right into it. So what we have here is our element charts: 36 wind, 23 fire, 25 normal, and 16 water, with our class breakdown mostly being assassin and tamer. And then going into our lineage breakdown, we have 25 Sylvies, 11 Tristans, 9 Nicos, 9 wind Lorraine, mostly the ally build, 5 hybrid Merlins, and 4 regular Merlins, and 3 other Tristan lists, but I'm not going to go into the little weeds. But let's go ahead and get into deck number 1. With deck number 1 is the spice list I was telling you about. It is Gamori. Gamori had on 601, more likely I think drawing at the end, with a nice little list. Ends up being a little bit on the expensive end. It's hard to say what's expensive nowadays in Grand Archive because prices have been going everywhere. But this is $413.96 on TCG low pricing. Might get a little lower in the Discords or in some other places, but it is a Fire Tony deck. So this list is spicy to me because the fact that we have not seen Tony top anything that hasn't been Fire Domains or Water Tony in a while. So the fact that we have Spirit of Fire Tony that goes level 1 and level 2, Impact Hammer, which is whenever this unit is used for an attack, it deals 3 damage to it. So you deal 3 to yourself, use this weapon that gets 3 attacks, so 3 to attacker for 0. Bulwark Sword, your Baubles, your Smoke Bomb, your Terraframe, Backup Treasure, and the Grand Crusader's Ring. Going into the main deck, we have 4 Arthur, 4 Hasty, 4 Fire Tune Automaton. This card is sort of, I like it. It's a 2-drop, 3-1, sort of replaces that Blitz Mage effect that it used to have before. But the fact that this card also lets you discard a Fire Element card, so you can fill your grave a little bit. For some of the cards, you're going to see a little bit below. And then you have Floating Memory Class bonus on the, as well to go up to level 2 or get other things if you need to. Rococo, Surging Bolt, Reprogram, Tempered Steel, Vermilion Decree, Blazing Bowman, Veteran Blazebearer, which also has Steadfast and Taunt. You have Crimson Tier, Gildas, Lurking Silent, Trained Sharpshooter, Esteemed Knight, Heavy Swing, Smashing Force. This is where that discard comes in. It's the fact you go ahead, you have the on attack and banish 2 fire cards. And when you do, you can either destroy target item or weapon with memory cost 0 or reserve cost 4 or less. And you have Blazing Charge, will also let you go ahead and get for an extra +2 attack to come in a total of 5 for that attack. Which then also has the go ahead and take an extra damage each source of damage, which is almost like a poison dagger. This list is super interesting. The fact that it's not even running Creative Shock, by the way. So this is going pure value off of its units and just going, I'm going to go fast, I'm going to go ahead and win. And just sort of trying to get into big attack swings with your units. You have Arthur to go and pump up your board. You have Fire Tomb and Tauntaun. You have Rococo. You have Surgeon Most to deal 4 if it's imbued. Vermilion Decree for fast speed draw as well as dealing damage. Veteran Blazebearer. You have Blazing Bowman also comes in for 4 if you get to go ahead and use the discard effect or the banish effect from Blazing Bowman. And then you have your Temper Steel to go level. You have your usual Gildas, Lurking Silent, Trained Sharpshooter, and Esteemed Knight for the usual 3-drop 2/3 bodies. Heavy Swing that come in for a whole bunch of damage because it comes in for 6, especially if you're already Guardian. Comes for 4. Cost 4, coming for 6, but if you use the Impact Hammer, it comes in now for 8. So you have 8 damage coming in through a Heavy Swing on a single turn. And you have Smashing Force that comes in for about 6 with a weapon. And you have Blazing Turn comes in for 6 as well. So this list is super interesting. I really like this list. This is super go fast. This is pretty much a red deck wins build if you're familiar with any other form of TCG. But with that being said, in the sideboard here we have Ornamental Greatsword, Freedom Protect Trinket, Crimson Protect Trinket, Reduced Ash, Blitz Mage, and Heavy Swing. So imagine the way it sort of goes like this. If you're dealing with something that's a lot of board wipe or you need to try to push a little bit more most in the Allies matchup, go Ornamental Greatsword. Nico, you bring in Freedom Protect Trinket because I know Singapore and Asia, in the Southeast Asia area, is very heavy on Nico. Crimson Protect Trinket is brought in for the Tristan matchups as well as when allies. You have Reduced Ash to deal with some of the weapons or sort of deal with a little bit of, say, even a Nullifying Lantern. You need to get rid of that a little bit quickly. Blitz Mage is brought for a little more allies, and you have another Heavy Swing to try and close the game a little bit more quickly. But congrats on over to Gamori. This was a super interesting list. I'm happy to see something new win for once. And let's go ahead and go into deck number 2 here. With deck number 2, we have Reap Zero. Reap Zero is also on that silver list. So it's $254 on TCG's low, a little bit on the lower end of pricing. Usual list that we've seen before. I'm not going to go too much into this. We have the usual Dungeon Guides. We have the usual Storm Slime, Ethereal Slime, Lustrous Slime, Guy Songbird. 2 Turbocharge in the main, and this one is not running the Ordinary Bear, but is running the 4 Blissful Callings to go ahead and help filter the top of your deck a little bit. In the sideboard, you have Nullifying Lantern, 3 BB Program, 2 Resolute Stands, 1 Verdam's Trinket, 1 Slime Eruption, 1 Baby Blue, a Guy Songbird, and a Hymn of Gaia's Grace. Pretty much as I've always talked about before, I'm not going to go too much into this. Most of the game, main gameplay is we're going to get to level 3 Sylvie, get any Storm Slime, do a lot of damage with the spell effect, and then swing them with the units with a Ethereal Slime and Storm Slime with enough buff counters on it. Congrats on the Reap for getting second place. Deck number 3, we have Mefin. Sorry, I'm always still going to be horrible at pronouncing names. I still apologize for that. On our Hybrid Merlin list. Hybrid Merlin is going to be coming in at $343, $344 if you go ahead and round up. And the usual list, nothing really spicy here. You have the Lorraine level 3, Merlin level 3, Prismatic Kitchen, and Majestic Spirit. Going to the main deck, you're running Honorable Vanguard, Library Witch, Star Shipment Reprogram, a lot of floating memory are ways to draw your deck. Create a Shock, Cremation Ritual, Devastating Blow, Fireball, and Flame Sweep. With Flame Retardant, Hasty, and Reduce to Ash as well in the main. Freezing Hail and Scatter Essence being your floating memory in the water and wind, so you can go ahead and Spirit Blade Ascension and get the extra triggers if you're not facing the equivalent opponent. So if you're facing water, you want to make sure you have wind cards in your memory so you can get all 3 sources of that Prismatic Edge trigger. Where you have Ghost, and then the top end we have Cruxite, Ghost Pendragon, Incarnate Magic, and Spirit Blade Ascension. Normal Merlin list that we're used to seeing at this point. With the Stopper being Blanche, in caps, Resolute Stands, Vernian Protection, get 2 Disintegrates, and 2 Under Fires. Congrats over from Mefin for getting third place. And in deck number 4, we have Aqua. I don't know if it's Aqua from something else. It's Aqua the whole of VTuber, Aqua from Konosuba, Aqua from, oh god, there's so many versions of Aqua. very, very unique that they're able to get that name. On the Sylvie list, we already talked about Sylvie before, so I'm not going to go ahead and break down too much. It's pretty much looking like the same list we discovered earlier. So we're going to go ahead and go into deck number 5. In deck number 5, we have what came in with Zetivix. I think I got that one right. I'm pretty sure I got that one right. On Nico. So Nico, like I said, is very heavily played in Southeast Asia. This is sort of their main meta, as North America and Europe are sort of seeing a little more of the slimes. Southeast Asia is really big onto the Nico list. So we have the Nico coming in with Quicksilver Rail, Borg Sword, Terrafring, Mage Beam Lash, Blinding Orb, Scepter, and Vapor Jet. Sort of the basic package we're used to seeing. Maybe a couple different additions where you have Quicksilver Rail versus Grand Crusader Ring. You have Blinding Orb as well. In the main deck, you have Cerulean Decree, Chilling Touches, Diffusal Blocks, Fractal Intrusion, Fractal Rain, Fractalize, Freezing Hail, Frostbinds, Ice Message, Vitalizing Cleanses, Lost Arts, Primordial Rituals for another way for floating memory. Pretty much the standard list we're used to seeing at this point. A lot of them are not running Freezing Hail lately, especially because of the fact that you are pretty heavy in a Nico meta over there. So you're going to Freezing Hail your opponent's Nico or your opponent's Merlin, for example. They don't untap next turn, so you can go and try and get an extra swing in or slow down them an extra turn if they don't get to go ahead and get a combo turn on you. And then in the sideboard here, you have Grand Crusader Ring, Incaps, Reprograms, Vernian Protection, Fractal Intrusions, Frostbind, Violent Cleanse, and a Song of Frost. Congratulations over Zet for getting slot number 5. And our next list, we have Miffy on another Sylvie list. So pretty much, again, I'm not going to go break into this too much. This is pretty much mostly the same. Instead of running 2 turbocharge, running 1 turbocharge, and this one is also running the Slime King package. In the sideboard, you have Blanches, Nullify Lantern, Reprogram, Resolute Sands, Terrafring, Twilight Slime, Luscious Slime, and Terrasite. Congrats on getting your invite over here, Miffy. Mr. Pro-An. Pro-An that we see, I think, in every single event is always topping is, once again, of course, on Nico. Nico, one of, I think, Pro-An's favorite list. I think one of the more the innovators who brought Nico pretty early on into the meta. With a list that we've seen before, pretty much, I think, I'm not sure if they're teammates or not from the last Nico list we saw, but this is looking pretty similar. Actually, this is, like, I think, card for card similar. A little bit less on premium rituals, but a little bit heavier on the Sea Sprite Diver to go ahead and banish a couple different floating memory cards from your opponent's graveyard. But otherwise, pretty much the same list of what we're looking at here. I know Pro-An's probably going to comment on my YouTube video after yelling at me about how I missed something. I do apologize, Pro-An. I do apologize. But if you want some deep insights, make sure to check out the comment section below. Usually Pro-An comments about something I missed in this list. I try not to put words in the players' mouths on some of the decisions they make. And next we have Wintura Rinsiri. I'm going to call you Win for short. I apologize ahead of time for butchering it. On we have, I think, Hybrid Merlin. So Hybrid Merlin we talked about before. Pretty much the same list that we looked about, a little bit laid out a little bit differently. This one is running, though, the Sudden Steal versus the Devastating Blow. This lets you go and not have to worry about paying out costs because you want to get the Sudden Steal with efficiency. And then you have Sparkle Light to deal with cards like your Dungeon Guide to Sparkle Light Dungeon Guide in case there is something like a Stifling Trap. You could sparkle something in response to a Social Arcane or a Water Barrier, for example, or something like what's I'm looking for? Stunts. Oh God, Frigid Bash? No. The Shield card. I'm drawing a blank on the card right now. I can't think of it. And Resolute Stand, Potion Fuse Seal, and Incarnate Magistry. The sideboard, you have Focus Flames, Under Fire, Blanches, Reduce Ash, Resistant, Geldis, Nullify Lantern, and Reprogram. Imagine Focus Flames mostly brought in for the ally matchups. Geldis is good into Slimes and some other allies as well. It's a big boy with a 5/8 that's very hard to be answered to. Blanche brought in for the Mirror, Resistance, and Under Fire also brought in for the ally matchup as well as Reprogram if you're facing a Robotic list. Congrats on getting your invite. Into the next list, we have Hero. Hero is also on the Nico list. I think, once again, this is pretty much the same list. This is a little bit different. We are running 2 Fractal Chation versus the 1. I do not see Primordial Ritual in here, but instead we are running the Freezing Steel in that slot instead. Freezing Steel, I've seen a card come in a lot, especially you go ahead and tap a couple answer cards. If there's a bullet or a gun after that, you're Freezing Steel in response to the materialization. You go ahead and comes and taps, so you delay some of those combo piece turns or some of those other decks. So, that being said, in the sideboard you have the usual Fractal Intrusion, Freezing Hail, Robotic Lens Cleanse, Song of Frost, Protect Trinket, Reprogram, Incap, and a GCR. Congrats for Hero getting your invite. And on to Justine, or Justine, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. On Spirit of Wind, Lorraine. This is sort of the Agro Lorraine list we talked about before. You have Backup Chargers, Sword of Seeking, Poison Corner Earl, Ornamental Greysword, Nullify Lantern, and Smoke Bombs. The main game plan here is you have Charge Mannequin, Gildas, Lurking Stand, you have Andronica, Armor Valkyrie. So this is the robot build that we talked about before. The main game plan is to get a couple of automatons on the field, go ahead and get Andronica imbued, buff up your robots, and get a decent amount of big swings in, because you go ahead and do stuff like Valiant Advance and a Second Wind on top them, get a little extra damage, and get another swing of them just to do big combo turns. And then in the sideboard you have Cleansing Reunion, Dream Fairy, Trained Hawk, Vertex Decree, 1 Water Resonance Bauble, 1 Fire Resonance Bauble, and I imagine the Cleansing Reunion is probably brought in for the Nico matchup, as well as probably brought into Erupting, because I know Erupting is starting to rear its head yet again. But congrats on getting your invite. Next we have Nicholas over on the Spirit of Wind Tristan. The Tristan list we brought over and talked about multiple times at this point. Sassy Ripper, Gangster Ring. You have Sadie's, Black American Burka. I'm pretty sure this is pretty close, if not exactly, to the winning list over from Ascent Chicago. A little different. This one is running a Scout the Land. And this one is also running 3 Slice and Dice. You have 4 Shadow Strike, 1 Shadow Resonance, 4 Wind Ninja, 3 Reclaim, 3 Veiling Breeze. A little bit less than the Veiling Breeze. But then inside we have another Sanfierce, Turn of Magistrates, a couple more Shadow Resonance, 2 Zephyrs, 3 Reprograms, 2 Incapacitates, and 1 Gloam Spire Mantle. Congrats, Nicholas, for getting your invite. We have Korax also on Nico. So we're not going to go ahead and break down this list too much again. Again, we've broken down this list enough. Pretty much this one is back to the Primordial Ritual version. We have Jun on Spirit of Wind Tristan. This one is only going 1 level 3 Tristan, is not running both. You have Gear Strike Gloves, Assassin's Ripper, and Shadow's Claw. This one's going to be, I think this is pretty much the same list, a little bit different on the top end. On the back end though, for the Materialization deck, you have 3 Incaps on the main board. If to your standard frames, you have 1 Scout the Landsail, 4 Veiling Breeze, 4 Shadow Strike, and no Shadow Resonance. In the sideboard you have the Shadow Reaver, Incap, Terraframe, Verdant Protection, Cleansing Reunion, and Innovate Agility. So I'm going to go break this down a little bit. The reason why you might not be running both Tristans in the main board is because depending on the matchup and the meta you're looking into, you don't really going to go Shadow Reaver a lot. Shadow Reaver is good into other assassins, it's good into the mirror matchup. Sometimes it's good in the Merlin if Merlin's really behind on card draw and you need to bench top 4 cards of your deck. There's not too many instances where you want to go Shadow Reaver versus Shadow Dancer, so I understand cutting the Shadow Reaver to get an extra card into your material deck could end up being beneficial for you in the long run, and then side move back into the Game 2 and Game 3 depending on the matchup you're facing against. So it's a really interesting meta call, but congrats for having it work out for you and getting your invite. We have Ryuk Singh on, what do we have? Spirit of Wind Lorraine. This is another Lorraine list. A little bit robots, because we are running a Mercurial Heart. Mercurial Heart, folks, has made top 16 and got an invite. Mercurial has done it, ladies and gentlemen. But this is a robots list. You have Cell Vanguard, you have Dream Fairies, you have Shimmer Cook. This is pretty much pure into the robot game plan, as well as still doing the all on top mechanic. But the fact you get to go ahead and get a Mercurial Heart means your Charge Mannequin will forever have a Power Cell, unless you crack it for some reason. So you have Charge Mannequin, Lurking Sands, Ace and Protector, Manufacture Cell, Deflecting Edge, Favorable Winds, Tempest Downfall, and Fairy Whispers. In the sideboard, you have Water Resonance Bauble, Safeguard Amulet, Nullify Lantern, Cleansing Reunion, Zephyr, and Tempest Downfall. The main game plan before, as I said before, is get big robots, get big swings in on tapping them, and get another big swing in with it. Our second to last deck is AU. AU is on Spirit of Fire, Lorraine Tristan. This is probably an Erupting, so we have Assassin's Mantle in here, Quicksilver, Poison Dagger, Mercenary Blade. Fortunately, maybe it's not Erupting. This is not, is this pure? Alright, so this is the brand new version of Agro Xander, which is now known as Agro Lorraine Tristan. So this one is running a very interesting list. It's mostly running Slice and Dice sort of top end. You have Sadie's in here, you have Planted Explosive, Mark Target, Increasing Leader, Home by Fires, Clumsy Apprentice, Creative Shock, Decrees, Under Fire, Surging Bolts, and Rokokos. This one almost plays like a Fire Xander list, so we want to go ahead and get big combo turns in, where you can go ahead and get a lot of damage in early. Then you get a lot of cards in your discard part, and then you can Rending Flames for lethal. You have ways to cheat out a couple different cards. You have cards like Forge of Blade to get an extra +1 attack on your attacks. Focus on to cheat out early from your material deck, as well as Mercen's Blade. And Poison Dagger cooks every other card to set up the combo turn, so everything deals an extra source of damage. Really interesting to see. You have Crimson Protective Trinket, Sword of Seeking, Dream Protective Trinket, Woodland Squirrels, and 2 Underfire. So congrats to you for taking a very interesting fire aggro list and getting top of it. And our last list is Johnny. On our Spear of Fire Merlin. This is not running the hybrid list, this is just pure Merlin. You have backup charges, Sword of Seeking, Drawn Blade, Exchanger Ring, the normal top one we're looking at. Pretty much the list plays the same, instead you just not worry about flame sweeps. You don't need to not worry about going level 3 Lorraine for any other form of damage. So the main game plan is that you're just fireballing for face, Incarnate Mastery, Ghost of Pendragon, and Spirit Blade Ascension your way through. This one is not running though the double wind or water backup into their main deck, so they don't have that extra trigger, so they're most relying on what their opponent playing is to get multiple triggers off the Prismatic Edge. You have Sudden Seal though, Creative Shock, Cremation Rituals, Disintegrates, Fireballs, Flame Swordsman, Focus Flames, and Hasty Messages mostly deal with the ally matchup because you're not running the Flame Sweeps anymore, because you're going pure Merlin only. On the sideboard, you have Blanche, Fast Cure, Library Witch, Resolution, Safeguard Amulet, Disintegrate, Hasty, Research, Cruxate, and Incarnate Mastery, as well as one more Spirit Blade Ascension. Well, folks, that will do it for me here today. I know we have a couple of things, a couple of meta reports to break down later on. I had the online event over this weekend. There'll be a story time on that as well as a meta breakdown. But with that being said, I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope everyone enjoyed watching. Hit the like, whatever the usual below. Keep it updated on all my videos. And I hope to catch y'all later. Peace.